Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to Newspaper Analysis Townhall. Today, 19th of July, we are going to see the following 5 topics from the Hindu newspaper. First one, Indian Inequality and World Bank's report. Here, World Bank's Inequality report puts India among the 4 least unequal countries in the world. So we will see the debate regarding India's inequality. Second, the recently launched scheme, Krishi Dhanya scheme. We will see the provisions of the scheme and also what more needs to be done. Third one, censorship. Here we will see various provisions of the IT Act 2000 under which the censorship can be done or content can be removed from the online platform. Fourth, regarding the Odisha case, the POSH Act 2013. Fifth, so finally European Union put sanction on refinery in Gujarat. We will see this. Okay, Indian Inequality and World Bank's claim. See, the context is, few days back, World Bank released an inequality report. According to the report, India is the 4th least unequal country in the world. India has almost eradicated extreme poverty. If you hear this, you can feel, okay, this is against the contrary notion that India is a highly unequal society. So the reports further says India has significantly reduced consumption inequality and Gini coefficient has reduced from 28.8 to 25.5. So basically reduction of Gini coefficient means that equality has increased or inequality has fallen. So there have been debate whether this data, the findings of the World Bank report are true or not. What are the various bases of the reports which are used by the World Bank to come to these conclusions? First is Official Household Consumption Expenditure Survey, which is released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Also, the data is collected using modified mixed reference period. What is modified mixed reference period? See, there are 2 kinds of references. First one is uniform, second is modified mixed reference. In uniform, we take data for just particular period for very less number of items. But under modified mixed reference period, we take consumption over difference reference period and for different category of goods. How? First, in survey, we will ask what you have consumed in last 7 days. Then second, we will ask what durable goods you have purchased in last 365 days. So we get a holistic picture of the consumption. But the critic says that this household consumption survey do not capture the correct data. It leaves out top 5% or top 10% of the population. It does not go to the rich people to collect the survey. So what are the arguments given by the author in this article? The arguments given by the author in this article are very important for prelims as well as mains exam. The data which is being given, we can use directly in our mains answer. First one, the limitation which is being said, it applies to all survey data globally because this reference period is as per the international standards. Second, say for example, top 5% are not counted in the survey. Then 95% is counted, right? Out of the 100 people in India, say 5 is not counted. So if 95% showing equality, it means overall equality is there in the country. This is shown by various data. First one, increase in the per capita availability of milk and eggs by 45% and 63% between the period of 2012 and 23. So basically this shows that consumption expenditure has increased. Okay, 45% and 63% for milk and egg. Second, there has been an increase in intake of fruits, vegetables and protein diet. For whom? For the 20% bottom strata of the population. If there are 100 people and 20% at the bottom, there has been an increase in the intake of fruit, vegetable and protein diet for them. Basically meaning equality. Then fresh fruit consumption has increased from 63.8% to 90%. And there is this one more data. India pulled around 27 crore people out of extreme poverty between 2011 and 2023. Next, vehicle ownership among poorest 20% increased from 6% to 40% during the same period. What it shows, vehicle ownership, intake of fruit, vegetables, protein, pulling of 27 crore people out of extreme poverty. It basically shows the people among the extreme poverty, or say lower strata of poverty, they are coming out of it. Their expenditure on consumption is increasing and they are getting better diets, better goods and services. In this regard, government has launched various schemes which has been discussed in the article: PM Gram Awas Yojna, Gram Sadak Yojna and Ayushman Bharat. Okay. There's one more dimension to this article. Consumption expenditure, we saw how it has increased. The critique says there may be increase in consumption, but there is inequality increasing in terms of income level. See, what we are going to see at the end is key concepts. What is consumption inequality? What is income inequality? What is modified mixed reference period? We just saw it. What is Gini coefficient? So these concepts which are there in the article, we will discuss also them. They say World Inequality Lab, which releases the income inequality data. It uses income tax data. We have discussed consumption inequality. Now we are discussing income inequality. The author says, even if we take the estimates given by World Inequality Lab, which has some drawbacks. What are the drawbacks? It calculates pre-tax income level, not post-tax. See, income tax is imposed to redistribute the resources. If somebody is earning 1 crore and somebody is earning 5 lakh, then it is taxed at 30%. It is redistributed through welfare schemes. So it calculates only the pre-tax income levels. But still, even if we consider the data by the World Inequality Lab, it says national income share of bottom 50% has increased from 13.9% to 15%. This is very critical data. And also during the same period, top 10%, the share has decreased from 58.8% to 57.7%. So even if we go through this data and look at the income inequality, it has also gone down. So what the report says, there is definitely a long way to go before we become an egalitarian society. But at the same time, India is not just about poverty and inequality, but also progress and aspirations. So sometimes choti jo successes hai, we should celebrate them also. So the data which is being given is very important for exam point of view. So what is consumption inequality? It is basically disparity in the value of goods and services consumed by different households. That is goods and services which are consumed, and disparity in that. What will be income inequality? Disparity in the income which has been earned by households. Modified mixed reference period, we saw how it gives us better data. Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient basically measures inequality in a society or a country. It basically gives a score of 0 to 100. 0 means perfect equality. This statement can come as it is in prelims. And this is perfect inequality. What is perfect equality? Say for example, there is 1000 rupees GDP of a country and there are 10 people. If everybody has 100 rupees, this is perfect equality. Perfect inequality, all the 1000 is being appropriated by just one person. No society is perfectly equal or perfectly unequal. Everybody lies somewhere in the between. So as the score increases, inequality increases. But what has been in India's case? Yes, 28.8 to 25.5. It is decreasing. Decreasing means we are going towards equality, equal society. So this is all about this article. Now let's move on to the next article. PM Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojna. Let's see about what is there in the scheme. We have a look at the features and aim of the scheme. PM Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojna, which is recently launched. It is formed by converging 36 existing schemes. 36 government schemes are being merged and then this come up. The aim of the scheme is to enhance agricultural productivity. Productivity as in, say for example, 1 acre land is producing, say for example, 10 ton of or say 10 ton of, I'm just giving you an example, wheat. Productivity means we are increasing it to 12 to 15. So productivity has to be increased. Next, crop diversification needs to be adopted. In North India, we see domination of wheat and rice, which is leading to underground exploitation of water. So crop diversification needs to be adopted. Then sustained agricultural practices, low use of insecticide, pesticides, or chemical fertilizers. Then augmenting post-harvest storage. Under the scheme, 24,000 crore will be allocated every year for the next 6 years. It will not be applicable for all the districts in the country. Districts will be identified on the basis of 3 criteria. First, low productivity, low cropping intensity. What is cropping intensity? And less credit disbursement. Low cropping intensity basically means it measures the efficiency of the land use. How many times a land has been cultivated or cropped in a particular year. That is the cropping intensity of a land. So the districts low productivity, low cropping intensity, and low credit disbursement. 100 such districts will be identified. State, center, and private sector all will make partnerships to implement the scheme. It is expected that it will benefit 1.7 crore farmers. Okay, but the concern is, according to Parliamentary Standing Committee on Agriculture, in its latest demand for grant reports, it has observed that the allocation for agriculture as a percentage of total central plan outlay, यानी कि जितना सेंटर का प्लान आउटले है उसमें से एग्रीकल्चर का जो शेयर है, it has been decreasing consistently from 2021 to earlier it was 3.53%, next year 3.14, then 2.57, 2.54, 2.51. This is the concern. So just aggregating and merging various schemes is not going to help. Overall expenditure has to be increased, investment has to be increased, and private public partnership should be for the larger good as in to increase the self-reliance, production of food grains, edible oils, and pulses. Under this scheme, central government will monitor 117 key indicators of progress on a monthly basis to check whether the scheme is been giving good results or not. Okay, this data is very important. Okay, take note of this. Let's move on to the next article. Yes, what happens recently? Government in Karnataka High Court, it shows a fake account of Supreme Court of Karnataka. So it basically showed to the judges that a fake account can be very easily made, and it is verified also. It is made by the state government only, by the state only. But it showed to the judges that the fake account can be created very easily and very easily verified. Why they showed it? Let's see the context of this. There are 3 stakeholders. One is government. One is say Twitter. We are taking the Twitter as a platform. Now the individual, that is you and me. How they work? I put a post on Twitter, but the post goes against say national security, or it is trying to incite the violence. So what will do? Government will ask the Twitter to remove the post, to delete the account. Now the Twitter is saying that the government is unduly asking to remove the content and the accounts. So that is why Twitter approached the court against the government. So let us see various provisions under which government can ask the platform to delete certain content and what the platforms can do. Okay. IT Act 2000. It basically regulates and the information and technology and these platforms in India. This is section 69A of the Act. Under this act, under this section, basically the government is empowered to block access to online information in the interest of sovereignty, security, and public order. It was held by Supreme Court in 𝐼𝐸𝐻𝐵 case of 215. That is, Supreme Court has also upheld it. Okay. Now the contention comes here. Government can ask the intermediary to remove the content. Okay. What intermediary says? Intermediary says we are not responsible for the content. Obviously, because whatever I post on it, I should be held accountable. Why the Twitter should be held accountable? So under the IT Act, there is section 79, which is called as intermediary liability or safe harbor provision. That is, anything posted on Twitter, it can be WhatsApp, it can be Facebook, Instagram. If anything posted on these platforms, it is inciting violence, then Twitter will have no liability. Yes, it will be exempted from all liability because it is not done by the Twitter. It is done by the individual. This is good also. But this immunity is based on certain limitations. Under section 79(3)(b), intermediaries will lose the immunity if they fail to remove the unlawful content. ठीक है, you are not responsible कि तुम्हारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे क्या कंटेंट आ रहा है. But if the government asks you remove this content because it is inciting violence or it is against the national security, then you have to remove it. So provisions are very much clear on this. Government has the authority held by Supreme Court also. Intermediary liability is not there. But if you do not remove the content, you will lose this immunity. And to communicate with the platform, the government has made up this 𝐮𝐩𝐽𝐝 portal, which has been called by Twitter also as 𝐮𝐩𝐽𝐝 portal, as a censorship portal. This is an online platform basically which automates the issuance of content removal notice. Government will send a content removal notice to intermediary and ultimately the intermediary has to remove the content. It is managed by Ministry of Home Affairs. So this is all about IT Act and the provisions regarding removal of content from the online platform. Yes, next one. Odisha government races to inform POSH after student's death. The student basically self-immolated herself after inaction or on sexual harassment complaints. Consistent complaints, but no hearing, no resolution of the complaints. So here we will discuss about the POSH Act, the provisions of the Act, which are important for the exam point of view. POSH Act basically was enacted in 2013 to address the issue of sexual harassment at workplace. Before this Act came, there were certain guidelines which were issued by the Supreme Court in 𝐻𝐸𝐵 case. India is also signatory to Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. So basically it has been ratified also later. So this is the background, the Act, the Supreme Court guidelines and convention. What are the provisions of the Act? The Act defined the sexual, what is called as sexually unwelcome. It includes physical contact, demand for sexual favor, any unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct which is of sexual nature. There is legal obligation on the employer to prevent and prohibit. Basically, it is the duty of employer. Not only duty, but legal obligation. An internal complaint committee has to be constituted at each workplace with 10 or more employees. And this committee will have the power of civil court. Basically, inside the organization, there should be a committee jahan par you can go and register a complaint. Okay. And also awareness program has to be undertaken by the employer in this regard. So POSH Act, the POSH committee, they are basically not working. In Supreme Court also a couple of years back noticed regarding sports authorities, sports committees. In sports organization, less than 1/3 of the organization have constituted internal complaint committee. So this is the need of the hour. These committees should be constituted. They should be empowered and timely resolution of the problem should be done. Yes, next one. We discussed about this yesterday only and it happened today. European Union finally imposed sanctions on refinery in Gujarat. We discussed about this yesterday, this refinery in Gujarat. What European Union says, one logic only. Do not buy Russian oil. If you are buying Russian oil, you are supporting Russia against war with Ukraine. This Naira Energy Limited in Gujarat is basically has a major share by Rosneft, a Russian energy giant, 49% share. So it has been sanctioned. That there are various provisions under the sanction, full-fledged sanctions, bans on asset fees, ban on providing resources will apply to the refinery. There is not only the sanction on this. There is also sanction on the price of the Russian oil. Say, if I'm paying rupees 100 per liter to Russia for oil, I'm giving 100 rupees to Russia. European Union lowered this price. The maximum price has been reduced. It has been reduced from $60 per barrel to $47.6 per barrel. That is, first I should not buy oil. Even if I buy, it should not be more than $47.6 per barrel. So this is basically it. Also imposed ban on this European import from the Nord Stream 1 and 2. What is Nord Stream 1 and 2? This is Russia. This is Germany. This is Baltic Sea. This is Nord Stream 1 and this is Nord Stream 2. They basically supply LNG or gas to the Germany through the Baltic Sea. Ban has been imposed on this also. So now we'll see what and how things evolve from here. India has again cautioned against double standard. India do not subscribe to these unilateral sanctions because energy security is very important for us. How can you threaten our energy security? Energy security is important in terms of international strategic autonomy, then local economy. How? That is domestic economy, inflation, import bill. We discussed all this yesterday only. And also US Senate is considering to passing a bill to impose 500% tariffs on countries importing Russian oil. And President is saying that we will impose secondary sanctions of 100% on those countries which import Russian oil. So this is about the news. We discussed yesterday in newspaper about the impacts of these steps on India's energy security. Okay, this is it for today. So keep studying. We will see you on Monday now. Thank you.